Hello there, scientists! Today we're going to be exploring scientific tools, and I need you to be open up to page 30 so you can read along with me and have your pencil ready. So before we start reading, I want us to brainstorm. What tools might a scientist use? Ooh, think. Try to list them on your finger and your head. What do you think a scientist might use? Maybe to help them see up close? Or maybe something to help them see far away? Okay, keep those thoughts in your head as we read to see if we discover them. Now, as I read, I want you to underline any tool that you hear. Okay, so if I talk about binoculars, I want you to underline binoculars. There's no binoculars in there. Okay, so that will help us with active reading. And so when we go back into our text later, if you want to help study for the quiz or look over your notes, that will help you review back. All right, so I'm reading where you see the big red S. Scientists use all kinds of tools. Many turn the 5 senses into super senses. Tools enable scientists to see things that are far away, to smell faint odors, and to hear quiet sounds, and to feel vibrations that the body cannot. Now, let's say you want to observe the craters on a moon. A telescope, underline telescope. A telescope which makes faraway objects look closer will turn your sense of sight into supervision. So normally when we look at the moon, it's really hard to see craters, but if you use a handy dandy telescope, you're going to be able to see it. And the cool thing about telescopes, the stronger the lens, the further away you can see. So there's actual space stations that use giant telescopes that help them see super far away outside of our solar system. It's pretty neat. And looking on that second page, what if you were interested in studying tiny critters such as leafcutter ants? Tag along a hand lens. So take a look at the screen, a hand lens. Kind of looks like something that a detective might use, right, to look for clues. Now, this is something you can do to look at the tiny critter closely. So underline hand lens. Hand lenses make small objects look bigger. Is the ant crawling away too fast with the hand lens? Try gently placing the ant inside a magnifying box. So you can see that here. Now, this is for objects that might roll around, might move, and you got to be careful if they're living things. You got to make sure that they go back into their habitat afterwards. But this helps you observe it in a safe space so they're not getting away or anything like that. Okay, so these two aren't super close, but it helps you see a little bit closer. And lastly, we are going to learn about the microscope. So I have a microscope actually right here in my classroom. So it's very heavy, and here is where you would put your eye to observe whatever you wanted to see. Here is where you move it to see it closer or further away. So one of these makes it 10 times as close. Another one makes it 100 times as close. So this is really cool. So what you put is your sliding glass here. I don't have any sliding glass, but I put a piece of paper here. But I'm able to see it up close. So scientists use that to make observations that their normal eyes cannot see. So I want you to practice with me. I'm going to give you a situation or scenario, and I want you to point on your screen what tool would you use to help in that situation? Say you wanted to observe constellations in the sky, so star patterns. What might you use? You should probably use a telescope because it helps you see far away. What if I wanted to observe a caterpillar and it just keeps going away, inching away somewhere? What might I use? Yeah, you would probably use a magnifying box. That way you can keep it in one area and observe it closely. How about if I want to see how close, or if I want to see something really, really, really close up, what would I use? Yeah, a microscope. Hand lens makes you see closely, but not as close as a microscope. So here's another example using a magnifying glass. So pretend this is a newspaper. See how it shows you the words much closer? Now, if I take the same word read and put it under a microscope, it might look like this, maybe like times 10. Imagine what it might look like if you do times 100. So I want to show you some actual videos of people using microscopes. So this is a leaf stomata, or stoma for singular form, and they actually put a leaf under the microscope, just a little tiny part of it. And right here is the stoma. So that's actually where they exchange gases to help with photosynthesis. So I really want you to look closely and observe that it actually moves. So it kind of looks like lips. And if you look closely, you can see them closing. So it's those oxygen and carbon dioxide exchanging. So how cool is that? So if I go in even a little bit, you could see it really closing if I go a little bit faster here. How neat is that? All right, so what if I show you something that might gross you out? But my mom used to say, don't play with dirty water. It's so gross because I was like a nature kid. I loved being outside. So this scientist actually took a little couple drops of water and put it under a microscope. And this is what they found. All right, let's let it load. Here we go. Okay, so you can see there's some sort of like algae, and you can see that there's organisms living in this water. And we wouldn't be able to see them with our normal eyes. They're only seen underneath a microscope. So let's go a little bit further. Ah, isn't that crazy? You might be freaking out right now. You're like, I'm never going in a lake again. Wow, look at that. Very, very cool. Oh my gosh, it looks like there's like something coming out of it, almost like a slug. Super neat. All right, boys and girls, what do you think this is? I'm not telling you yet. I want you to take a guess. What do you think this is? Make some observations about what you notice. Looks like there's like some sort of cracks. It looks like it's moving. Looks kind of dry. At first I thought it was an orange. Okay, so I'll give you a hint. It's something on your body. Yep. Okay, so if you guessed skin, you are correct. It is skin. So look, here's like a little bit closer, I guess. And here is someone with their hair. You can kind of see it up close. Really neat, right? So for the rest of today, boys and girls, what you're going to do is, what I want you to do right now is on page 31, I want you to draw what you think an ant might look like under a microscope. Okay, so imagine if we were able to look at it super close, what might it look like? And then I want you to go back to your Google Classroom, and I have a fun interactive website I want you to try using. You're going to actually put like a human bone on the microscope, or you can put an onion. I know, right? I would choose the human bone. But you are going to actually play around and make sure you follow the directions very carefully, because you're able to see it up close if you follow them. All right, boys and girls, have a wonderful day.